The Gearbox Pro models hit the market last year like a freight train, just like they hit the ball, as some of the most powerful paddles in pickleball, all with a smooth feeling and relatively quiet profile. So for those that could control that power and find the sweet spot, they were rewarded with control over the court and dominance when it comes to power. But for many, the paddles just didn't have enough forgiveness edge to edge, and the pop off the sweet spot could be extremely difficult to control. So the Gearbox Ultimate launched earlier this year and gave players a little bit more stability with the thicker 16mm core, but we only got the elongated shape to choose from. So like a ton of other players, I prefer a standard or wide body paddle that lets me easily get my paddle in position and flick forehand and backhand rolls. But most importantly, I just need the extra forgiveness. So while I liked the Gearbox Pro lineup before, I never totally gelled with the paddles enough to play them regularly. So that changed, and it changed big time with this guy, the Gearbox PRO Hyper Ultimate 8.0. Yes, that's the full name of this paddle. I'm just gonna call it the Hyper Ultimate to keep things easy. The Hyper Ultimate is a true standard shape, meaning it measures in at 16 inches long and 8 inches wide, but unlike standard shaped paddles of days past, Gearbox went with a modern extended handle that leaves players plenty of room to fit a second hand on the paddle. The paddle is a little bit thicker than the original Pro models at 16mm, which puts more material behind the ball and makes the paddle more stable altogether. And when you combine that with the wider face, it easily becomes the most forgiving gearbox we've ever played. The Hyper Ultimate is maneuverable, it's stable, and it's forgiving, often three of the strongest traits that people would give to a control paddle. And while it does have stability and forgiveness edge to edge, it is anything but a control paddle. The Ultimate Hyper is an absolute cannon. It just happens to be a cannon with a great sweet spot. Gearbox uses the same tech in this paddle as the top-selling Pro Power, the Power Matrix technology that allows the paddle to maintain rigidity in the center while storing and releasing energy throughout the Power Matrix, all in a dampened and smooth playing experience. The rest of the Pro lineup, the Hyper Ultimate has a textured raw carbon fiber surface, what Gearbox calls their TXR grip technology, and that paired with the effortless swing speed and broad sweet spot of the paddle make it incredibly easy to bend the ball to balance out the paddle's power. And as long as I used topspin, I was able to keep my shots in. But flat shots or shots with underspin can be incredibly touchy, and if you hit the ball just a little bit too hard, it's amazing how easily it can fly out of the court. That being said, it's not a beginner's paddle, but unlike some of the other Pro models, an intermediate player could adjust to the power of this paddle and really benefit from the forgiveness and stability it has to offer. When you think about companies on the forefront of technology, Gearbox is often at the top of that list, and even their Gearbox Pro that's been on the market for quite some time is still probably the most advanced core we've seen in the pickleball world. And this edition of the Hyper Ultimate is no exception, and one that we're really happy to see. You can check out the Hyper Ultimate and the rest of the Gearbox Pro lineup and a whole lot more over at pickleballcentral.com. Thanks so much for watching.